on the Essequibo River to the sugar belt of Berbice and the coastal village of Melanie, Guyana's two main political parties turned up the heat on the campaign trail this past weekend, signaling just how fiercely contested the run-up to the September 1st elections will be. We begin this morning in Bartika, historically one of the strongest bastions of support for the PNCR and its coalition partner, the APNU. For decades, this gold and diamond mining hub has given the party a safe cushion of votes. But on Saturday night, signs emerge that the ground may be shifting, or at least that the momentum is not guaranteed. It was here in Futu Square that the APNU formally launched its Region 7 campaign, a launch that should have drawn out the loyal core in large numbers, especially since Bartika is home turf for the coalition's new prime ministerial candidate, Joretta Fernandes. In the days leading up, Fernandes herself was busy on the streets, meeting residents, seeking to rekindle old loyalties and rally new converts. Yet, when the evening arrived, the expected surge of supporters did not come.
Martin is learned. He's a measured person. He is what we need for leadership in this country. And if you care about yourself, if you care about your family, if you care about the future of your children, you will vote for him. Because when you vote for him, you are voting for yourselves. When you vote for him, you are voting for policies that will be investing in you, the people. This is your time. This is your time to shine.
While the APNU's launch in Bartika failed to attract the numbers they may have hoped for, just a day before, the PPPC held its own smaller meeting in the township, a subtle sign that the governing party too has eyes on every pocket of support in Region 7. On Sunday, that message was amplified when German Figuera, who only recently pledged to work alongside President Irfan Ali for re-election, joined the president for a separate fundraising activity in the region, one that drew a significantly larger turnout. But the biggest political noise this weekend was not in Bartika. It came from the sugar fields and coastland communities that have long been the bedrock of PPPC and APNU support. On Sunday, thousands in Berbice packed the Albion Estate Road, a place where the governing party has traditionally flexed its political muscle. By their own count, the PPPC claimed an audience of 35,000, the largest ever at Albion, with senior leaders declaring that the numbers were a clear sign of the party's growing strength ahead of the September polls.
It is about doing it bigger, better, and brighter on Region 6. And Region 6. I thought I saw the largest political rally in the history of our country at Kitty last week, but you have done it bigger, brighter, and better. And I have to admit that to this date, this is the largest political rally in the history of our country. But as a man from the west side, I know the boys and girls in Shoreville are looking on. But this crowd is going to give them something to work hard to beat.
The government's message in Berbice was one of expansion and transformation. Promises were laid out to remake the traditional rice and sugar belt into something far more modern, with plans for a second oil and gas hub, a deep-water port to link directly with Brazil, and large-scale investments to modernize agriculture across Region 6. The PPPC is hoping these big-ticket pledges will lock in strong support in region where it already holds a decisive advantage. The rally ended with calls for supporters to not just attend these mass gatherings, but to return home, knock on doors, and ensure the votes materialize when it matters.
Thousands of sugar workers have been rehired. People now, we have labor shortages. In the next term, for people in Berbice and across the country, we have to ensure they get more jobs, better paying jobs. We have to ensure that the rice farmers, the sugar workers get support. We have to make sure that we get more loans to people who want to start small businesses. In every one of your villages, we want to make sure that we have street lights, security cameras to fight against crime. We want to do concrete drains. We want to make sure that our communities are secure.
As the sun set over Albion on the opposite side of the country, attention shifted to Melanie on the east coast of Demerara, another community that has historically leaned towards the opposition, but where the weekend turnout again sparked questions. The APNU gathered supporters there on Sunday, but the crowds paled in comparison to the sea of red seen in Berbice. Even so, the APNU used the Melanie stage to pitch itself as the party with real answers for housing, harking back to the self-help era of the 1970s when families built communities with their own hands. One speaker reminded residents that Melanie itself was built that way, framing it as proof that under the right leadership, the spirit of self-reliance could once again be harnessed to tackle modern housing challenges. Calls were made for young men to break free of the struggles that keep them stagnant and to take charge of their future under an APNU government.
The other side would have you believe that the Partnership for National Unity has no housing plan. That is a lie. Because Melanie Davashana was started through self-help and the spirit of corporatism. And by that we mean we built Melanie with our hands. And our toil must not be forgotten. So for the young men of Melanie, get out of bondage, out!
So, from an underwhelming launch in Bartika to a record-breaking show of force in Berbice, the weekend laid bare the contrast between the main party's campaign machinery at this critical time. While crowds and chants fill headlines, the real verdict will be delivered not in squares or estate roads, but in the quiet of polling stations come September 1. And with just about 40 days to go, the race is on to see whose message and whose numbers will hold when it matters most. Turning our attention now to crime, where a tragic story out of Linden has left another family shattered and a community reeling. Police have arrested 21-year-old Shaka Phillips, who is accused of gunning down his former partner, 26-year-old Janelle Polidor, late Saturday night. Phillips, who's known locally as Concrete Man, was found and taken into custody by ranks in South Amelia's ward on Sunday afternoon. His capture followed swift police work and cooperation from residents who came forward with information. Investigators believe Polidor's killing was the culmination of an abusive relationship that she had tried to escape. After enduring what relatives described as constant violence, Polidor had separated from Phillips and secured a restraining order in an effort to protect herself and her children. But on Saturday night, those legal protections were not enough. Police reports indicate that Polidor was at the R&R Hotel in Central Amelia's ward, attending a wedding reception with relatives and friends when Phillips turned up unexpectedly in a fit of rage. It was alleged that he was upset she had not been answering his calls. What began as heated words quickly escalated when Phillips pulled out a handgun and fired at Polidor. Witnesses say she ran towards the pool area of the hotel compound in a desperate attempt to escape, but Phillips reportedly pursued her, firing twice more before fleeing the scene. Police and emergency services arrived. Polidor was found with fatal gunshot wounds to her face and head. Spent shells recovered from the scene confirmed the weapon used. And that's our morning news brief for today, Monday, July 21st, 2025. Join us again at noon for a noon brief.